Hello everyone, this is Rhonda. Today we are meeting with Michele and Paul Hensleigh, owners of Hensleigh Healthy Beef Ranch here in Elk Grove, California. Michele and Paul started their cattle business in the late 1990s. However, Michele was raised with cattle all of her life, and she raised her first steer in the 3rd grade in a 4-H project. Michele cared for cows as well as her 3 daughters, while Paul worked full-time as an air quality engineer. In 2017, they began selling their healthy beef to farmers markets, and the results have been amazing. We are excited to meet with them today and tour their ranch. So come with us as we meet with the Hensleighs and tour their ranch. I think it was, I think you bought this ranch in, was it?
2019.
2019.
Yeah.
But I read that you started with...
Yeah, we were raising them over on Elder Creek and Bradshaw over there. That's where, that's where Michele grew up. That's where Karen lived, and when she sold that property, we bought this. We sold our house. We had a nice house in Elk Grove, and we sold our.
So that's what captures your heart.
Yeah.
Oh, she can handle that steer. I gotta grab her, right?
We've been married for 27 years, so.
That's wonderful. Wonderful.
Yep.
Oh, exciting. Oh, I have cheese too. I do.
You do cheese, just no carbohydrates?
That's right. Wow. Any animal product, but I very sparingly on the cheese. There's once in a while I'll put it on my burger patty.
You look amazing.
Oh, you're so sweet. but you, how I found you was on YouTube. So your friend, the carnivore friend that's from Australia, he probably knows Dr. Anthony Chaffee. He's interning in Australia, has a YouTube channel, Anthony Chaffee MD, and he's the reason I became carnivore. So he has a video popped up on my YouTube feed called Plants Are Trying to Kill You. Oh. And so that's how I got into this. And then couple other YouTubers were talking about the ranches and how important it is to support our local farms and ranchers. So I started looking, the last minute, I started looking on Google and local ranchers in my area. Yours ranch is the only one that popped up in Elk Grove area.
Really?
And then I said, oh, I wonder if they have a Facebook or a website. So I went on Facebook. You have a Facebook page.
You do.
And it was perfect timing because I read for the first time ever you opened your ranch up to your customers for the tour. And I said, perfect timing.
You know, and Paul, he's always wanted to do this, like have a customer appreciation type thing. And as you can see, there's always something happening at the ranch, right? We're in the middle of a construction zone.
Yeah, that's amazing.
But you know what? Sometimes you just got to dive in and go from there, right? Next year we'll do something different. We'll be a little more prepared.
But it was like, I just found it this week, I think it was, and I emailed, it was like 6 days ago actually, and so I emailed because I'm not a customer yet, but I'm going to be.
Oh, you haven't tried our beef?
This is all new to me. No,
okay, wait till you try my beef.
I've been looking for healthy beef, and I love the name of your farm, Hensleigh Healthy Beef. So, this, you know, so I didn't know if I could get an appointment, but I just
Well, I can't wait
thankful
till you
that-
try our ground beef. It's amazing. It's amazing. That's how I will people in. Get them to eat my ground beef, and they come back every single time.
Well, I
it's
plan.
just clean, you know. It's just clean. It's flavor, and it's not grass fed. You know, the feed is got grass in it, you know, and they have access to grass. But the grass fed, it just doesn't have the flavor. So, you know, I fatten them up on a non-GMO grain.
That's good.
And my marbling, everything comes in a high choice and prime. Everything. And then I bred half the herd to a Wagyu bull. We went to Singapore. And in Singapore they have like levels of beef. So I'd eat this. Mine's better than that. Mine's better than that. Mine's better than that. We got to the Wagyu. And so when we came home, we got a Wagyu bull. And
Wagyu is my favorite. Actually, I tried it once.
It's super rich. You know, this is half, and you can use a fork. You can use a fork. You don't need a knife. And a lot of my older customers, they need something tender. My fillets.
Wow, I'm impressed. I am so.
She hasn't even tried our.
I know she saw us online.
Oh, I was telling you this. When I texted you, or
Yeah,
I mean,
emailed,
that was the first time I heard.
I saw her video, yeah.
And I'm amazed because some of
And her
my
blood pressure goes down.
yes, that's what sold me to go carnivore, by the way, because I've done other diets and my blood pressure was always high. So I said, well, if this lowered my blood pressure, every time I go to the hospital, it's normal. I said, I'm sold. I'm going to eat this way the rest of my life.
That's amazing.
I was telling her you have a carnivore that you met at your market last weekend.
He fascinates me every single time. And I was really kind of hoping he would come out. And he actually, this is what he does in videos and things. And I said, oh, one day maybe I'll be able to afford you to
So he has a YouTube channel, probably.
Probably does. And he does, he'll dry his food, you know, dry it
age
down to powder form.
Okay.
That he said will last forever.
Yeah, that can
And
make a
then
meal.
Eat that.
Oh,
Yeah.
the powder?
He had classes on it. Yeah, and I think it's like the London broil, almost like we would make like a beef jerky. And then he just dries it down to where it's powdered form. He said it will last forever.
I'd like to try that. I'd like to take some of those
He has some
classes.
classes that he's showing people
You'll have
how
to
to
get the
do
name
it.
and give it.
Yeah.
You know,
I would love to.
Yeah, like I told her, he looks like a bodybuilder, and he has stage 4 stomach cancer.
Wow. And it's in remission
Yeah,
now.
it's gone.
It's gone. And now that's a miracle.
Yeah, it's gone. He didn't do any kind of treatment, no, chemotherapy, none of it.
That's amazing. I love
He just
hearing.
changed his eating.
I love hearing stories like that. In fact, you answered one of my subscribers' questions without me even asking.
Okay.
You know,
What was it?
about if they're grass-fed.
Well,
But you already answered.
yeah,
I know
you
they're pastured raised, though.
Right, you know, but with grass-fed, you know, they seem to think you're getting that plant base, right? Well, you're getting it from mine too. Only mine is finished with grain. It's not adding a lot of fat to your calories, but you got the flavor. I mean, you can eat it without nothing. You don't have to cook it for 10 hours and add flavoring to it. On your grass-fed, that's what you have to do. We had to butcher one when I was a young child, and it wasn't any good. It was grass-fed.
Wasn't finished.
Oh.
Yeah, and it just wasn't any good. That, well, for me, some people like it. I don't. It tastes like it's gamey.
Right,
We prefer
right.
the flavor of the grass finished.
Yeah, if you're
Get
going
that
to have a
marbling,
steak,
that
you want to
flavor.
enjoy that steak.
Thank you.
You know, but I have heard, you know, grass-fed's an art form. People can do it to perfection, but I just have never had it. So
I've had it. I honestly didn't notice much of a difference. I noticed it was a little leaner.
oh well,
know
you
that.
haven't had ours yet.
The best
Yeah,
one.
you have to have. Well, you come back after you've had ours.
That's why I'm
Tell
going to
me what
ask you
think.
the difference in buying it locally than versus the grocery
Oh,
store.
night and day difference.
Yeah.
Just like when you
Grocery
grow a
store.
tomato at home versus what you buy in the store.
So this
It
will
hasn't been
be.
it hasn't been handled by 10 people in between, and you know.
You know, a lot of times I don't know this for sure, but I would bet it's frozen before they put it out to you.
Oh,
I would bet that. I would bet money on that.
that
for
makes sense.
transportation.
Yeah,
I mean, ours is
they
frozen
have
right
to.
from the processor, but it's still frozen when you get it and take it from the markets.
And mine will last a year. And I have unthawed it and changed my mind, put it back in the freezer, and it's fine.
Wow.
Yeah, I wouldn't do that with store bought.
You can't do that
No,
with store-bought. So
can't.
that tells me maybe it's been maybe it's been frozen before.
Wow. Okay.
And like in your natural packaging, that's how it's packaged. It has nothing to do with your product. It's how it's packaged.
When they claim to be natural.
Yeah, when they claim it's natural, well, it's how it's been packaged. It has nothing to do with what's in there. So I can't wait for you to try the beef.
I can't wait either because I plan to be a customer for life. I tell you,
will be.
because I've been looking for
will.
healthy alternatives, to the grocery store as well.
Oh yeah, no, there's no comparison. There is none. And
Did you have your questions?
I do. One. Okay, so one of my neighbors asked me, who's a subscriber of mine, how long does it take to raise a cow?
So we do ours a little different probably than the commercial beef. I mean, ours are born on the ranch. When they're anywhere from 4 to 8 months, we'll wean them, take the babies off the mamas. We'll raise the babies on pasture land until they get to be about...
I call them my teenagers.
Until they get to be about a year and a half to 2 years old. And then we'll put them in about a 1 acre pasture, and that's where we grain finish them for about 4 to 5 months.
Okay.
So we're processing them at about 24 months, and we're finding on the Wagyu, the half Wagyu, they sometimes need to get a little bit bigger on their frame size, so some of those are up to about 30 months.
They have to have more maturity.
So 2.5 years.
But I do believe that's the only way you get prime, is you have to have maturity on
You have
them.
to have the frame size and maturity before you put them on
Because when they're
grain.
young, they put them on grain at 6 months, and they're growing the same time they're being grained. And you can't get prime off of those animals. You just can't get them off a young animal. The older the animal,
Yeah, a lot of the commercial, they're aiming for like 16 to 18 months to be done and finished, like processed.
Oh, okay.
So we're going slower,
24
raising them a little more, natural.
Okay.
it just seems the meat finishes better.
And then we do on our ranch here, we do rotational grazing. So,
I was going to ask, that was one of the questions.
so you'll see when we go to the fields. I moved them from the first field this morning. They were there, and I moved them to the second field. They'll be, and I'm irrigating the third field. And then in about a week or so, I'll move them to the next field. They have irrigated pasture, and then they have access to dry ground next door. And then we lease. We don't have enough land on our home ranch here for all of the animals, so we lease about another 500 acres at a couple different properties.
Okay.
So
That's
that's
a lot of
the
land.
difficult part with cattle is the logistics, especially with us. We don't have a big piece all together, and so we got to move them from place to place. Time it
That's
out,
hard.
make sure there's grass there, hay or water. When they're calving, when they're
It takes a lot of land for
It sounds like a lot of work too.
a lot of logistics, a lot of work.
And
yeah.
I read that you were
I
an
work full-time.
engineer.
I'm a full-time. Yeah, I work full-time off the ranch.
Still?
So, yeah.
Oh my
So
goodness.
Michelle she's the one who runs the ranch during the week.
He helps. I couldn't do it without
I
him.
do mornings and evenings. I irrigate in the morning before I go to work and at night.
And I
then
take over the other ranch.
She goes
with
to
that.
the other property.
We're feeding them. All the teenagers are. They know where I'm feeding the steers that are being finished.
She
And
does that twice a day.
but now I'm babysitting my granddaughter, so my son-in-law does it for me in the morning.
Oh, okay.
So I have a day
I was
off.
gonna say I don't know how you do this. I
And
know
then we
you
do
have.
farmers markets every weekend
Yeah.
too. So
I don't know how you do because you hire other people to help you.
we have
right?
one person.
Oh,
We have one person who does one market for us, but otherwise all the stuff on the ranch is us, or we have friends that help us. But otherwise it's us. And then I'm
Yeah.
planning on retiring from my day job next year after 30 years in air quality. So
Oh wow! Oh wow!
that's the plan.
I don't know how you do it.
I think we just love it.
It's
and
you have.
it's not a job.
Yeah,
You
you
have
have
a
to have a passion for it,
Yeah,
because
you-
otherwise
you
nobody
do.
would do it. It's not worth
Nobody
doing.
would do it.
So you
It's
mentioned
dirty and muddy and no.
you
wouldn't do it.
mentioned the farmers market. So which farmers
So
market?
currently we're doing Folsom every Saturday. Michelle goes to Folsom every Saturday from 8 to 1 on Sutter Street.
Okay.
And then I'm in Midtown Sacramento Saturdays from, right now it's 8 to 1, but soon to be 9 to 1 in the winter. At 20th and K.
Okay.
And then the person we have helping us, she goes to Davis on Saturdays from 8 to 1. All three of those are year-round markets.
Oh, okay.
And then on Sundays, every other Sunday, I'm up in Roseville at Mahaney Park. So.
Okay, I was hoping you had one here in Elk Grove.
We tried doing the one on Sundays in Elk Grove, but it didn't last. It was a pretty small market and didn't get a lot of customers, and therefore didn't get a lot of vendors. And so there's one on Saturdays in Elk Grove at Sprouts that has been there for a little bit. It's not as big as the ones we ran. Are some of the three biggest in the area. The only one probably bigger is the Sunday under the freeway.
Okay.
But the three that we're in, we've got a lot of regular customers, a lot of our followers that come every week, and so they would be disappointed if we were to leave any of those
Oh
markets.
no, yeah, I understand. So, is that the only way customers can buy the
Currently, yeah,
Okay.
we're too small. We don't go through stores or any of that. Once in a while, by appointment for some of our regulars, they can come out to the ranch.
Okay.
You know, but again, we're running a million directions, so that's the hard.
One day we're hoping to be able to ship, and it just that's on the
Yeah,
list.
figuring out the dry ice and the shipping and all that's a lot of logistics that we haven't gotten to. So.
Okay, because I plan to be a customer.
Well, then
so I
you
didn't
can by
know.
appointment come out here.
I can.
'Cause you live in Elk Grove.
I do. Oh, that would be wonderful. So that answered one of the
Okay, how
questions
do you
I
get
had.
yeah.
And I'm probably out of order. You already answered about the animals being raised on pasture. But another question to that is, are your pastures fertilizing with what? And do you use herbicides or pesticides?
We don't apply any pesticides, no chemicals on the land. We do put seed in the grass. We grow hay on parts of it, and on our irrigated pasture we overseed it or do a no-till.
Okay.
We have occasionally put nitrogen on the land to try and improve yields. We're not convinced that it does a great job for us,
We have
especially.
a field guy that
We've had the soils sampled, and you know, our cattle put natural manure on the ground is because they're rotational grazing and their hooves beat up the ground. So, you know, we're not sold on the nitrogen inputs, but definitely no herbicides or pesticides, no chemicals.
See, that's
And,
great.
and then also, I don't know if we mentioned it before, she mentioned it, but we never give the cows any antibiotics or growth hormones. So
we keep them on a healthy protocol.
we vaccinate them to make sure they don't get sick, and we don't use, you know, the latest talk has been, are we going to go to the mRNA vaccines? And no, we won't ever do that. So.
Oh, thank you. Oh.
But we love our animals, we raise them properly. If something gets sick, we'll treat it, but then that won't go into our beef supply. If it's a mama cow,
It could become,
know,
well, that, yeah, they'll breed an animal, you know, but won't go into the food
or
supply.
we'll sell it at the auction, yeah.
That's wonderful. That's good.
Let me excuse
we have more
myself a second
We have
here.
more customers.
Yeah.
Okay. Thank you. I appreciate it.
But our cows kept to my voice.
Hey guys!
I can holler at them.
Good, how about yourself?
Follow me from field to field.
Wow.
They do.
Oh, that's okay.
Well, let me see if there. I think you answered most of the questions. That's right. So I was talking to your mom about the 4-H program that you were
Yeah,
in,
4-H program.
and you were in 3rd grade.
I've always loved cows. I always have.
And I heard that you named all them.
We have, yeah. Well, you would take a steer to the fair, you know, and then you know, and they paid you well at the fair. You know, people would bid the price up, and then I bought a couple of registered animals, girls, you know, and I just have always loved cows. And I've left the ranch several times, and I've always came back home with my dad, and I get more cows, and then I'd leave them, and he'd take care of them. I've always come back to that. Then when I met Paul, he didn't know what a cow was. He didn't.
I didn't mean to laugh.
That's a true story.
And here we are. He loves them as much as I do.
Oh, that's amazing.
He loves them just like I do. He was a horseman. He knew all about horses. But trust me, you can't do anything without muscle. You got to have muscle around here. Times change. You know, something comes along and changes it. So some of these young people can't afford it. You know, I was blessed, but I gave up $1 million house to come here and live in the mobile home. Honest to God, we did. But we just chose this.
Well, hopefully the carnivore community is going to help with changing that mindset.
People are figuring out what's in their food, you know, and they want you to eat this plant process.
And then people are getting sicker and sicker all the time.
They are. They are. So you got to ask yourself why, and you just think about it. All foods, everything.
I think it's time that more and more people are waking up. You know,
They are.
and we want to claim our health back. So,
Where would certain businesses be if we were healthy?
you're right. It's all about the money. That's why they're promoting all the sugar and processed foods.
Yeah, and all that's
Fake meat.
awful for you. Exactly. Who would eat fake meat? Who would eat fake meat?
And why do they want imitation meat?
Well, you know,
Let's
it's to
see.
feed the masses, and I get that. Especially when these other people, they can't, you know, they can't farm. I mean, I know a handful of young men that love this, absolutely love cattle. They can't afford to go out and get a ranch.
What's going to happen if
I
all
don't
the
know.
local ranches or farmers, is the big corporations going to take over? I
They already
mean,
have. Now that's where you're going to get your vaccines that you don't want in there. But you know, I'm hoping then maybe more. I would love to see a co-op of a lot of smaller farmers. They would get together and they could supply more people. I don't know how that would work.
I have a quick question for you.
Okay, yeah.
What kind of breed are these cows?
So we have a mix. Some of the red and white face with the red. Some of those are Hereford. A lot of the blacks are Black Angus. Some of the all reds, we've got Red Angus out here. And then when you start mixing a lot of these back and forth, you end up with black and white face, the black and white baldies. So they're all beef breeds, not dairy breeds, but beef breeds. And then the bull we used with all of these cows, we used 2 different Wagyu bulls. So we used one that we owned, then we rented a second Wagyu bull. So all of
bull named Rocky by any chance?
Our bull is Rocky, and then you see Woody on the some of the other tags. Those were from a different. Woody was the other bull we rented, a Wagyu.
Okay.
So all of these little babies are about 6 weeks old. Well, anywhere from a couple days to 6 weeks. We started calving in the beginning of August, and they're all half Wagyu.
Okay. One more question. So I see they're in the pasture here. How often do you rotate? Is that
Every couple days. So this morning they were in that first field.
Okay.
And I called them into here. They'll be here for 3 or 4 or 5 days, depending on the grass. And then right now I'm irrigating the next field. So I got 1 day left of irrigating up there, and then I'm going to start irrigating back at the beginning. And so I just do every 12 hours. I change the valves and rotate them through, and then they can always go to the dry ground. There's dry pasture on the other side of the fence there, so they kind of go back and forth. Sometimes in the mornings they like to be on the dry ground.
Which brings me to another thought. I hope it's not a stupid question. Like, when the weather's bad and stuff, are they just out here?
Yeah.
So they're never
They've got leather coats on.
So they never go to a shelter?
They have our tree line up there. Sometimes they'll hide under the trees, but they're pretty much out in the open. They can survive. They can handle the heat. You can see some of them like to go in the water anyway, so they'll go in the ponds. We don't get those extreme colds like they do in Minnesota or Montana. So
that's right. California. Northern California, it gets cold to me here, but you're right. It doesn't snow. So
yeah, no, the cows are pretty hardy. So, they'll breed. Again, we bring in bulls to breed them naturally, and so depending on this year we brought in our Wagyu bull and a rental Wagyu bull, but last year we brought in an Angus bull as well for half of them, and so you'll get them crossbreeding between the different ones we carry.
That's good. You're white, yes.
Yeah, so now you got to come out and see the cows. And
oh, thank you. Thanks for answering.
This one had twins. Angel had twins. Doesn't always happen that they.
So to answer your shelter, they do get shelter during the winter. It's our freezers.
Right. I love it. That's awesome. That's right. So she kept both?
She was able to handle both, and there was one other cow that kept both. But I'm thinking that we might have had a third set because that one calf that we have at the barn nobody claimed. So when we get back, we can go pet the bottle calf. So
I look forward to that.
She kept both.
Yeah. I hadn't seen both of them nursing in a while, so I was happy to see 2320 and 2323. We're both nursing on her today. So
yeah, I just
they don't always have enough milk, obviously, for 2. So. And then oftentimes when you have 2, if it's a boy and a girl, usually the girl is sterile, so not great for breeding. But
I didn't know that.
These are 2 boys here, though, so that'll be okay.
In fact, I haven't even seen twin cows before.
Yep, so she's got 2, 2320, and the one on the back side is 2323.
Wow.
I didn't realize they were twins at the time, otherwise, because I probably had 4 or 5 born on the same day, so I just, as I catch them in the field, I ear tag them, and then I see who they pair up with, so.
Okay.
Otherwise, I would have tried putting the numbers consecutive. So that would have been the 10th one born this year, 2310, and I just tagged 2348. So
Oh, so
23 is the year. I started doing it. The moms aren't all the same. That I started in 2020, so that was our 49th born in 2020.
Oh, wow, I see her.
And then if we put our tag in the left ear, it's a female, and then we put in the right ear, it's a steer, or a bull. That's a bull calf because it hasn't been castrated yet. So.
Okay.
But yeah, we didn't originally do that. We had just random numbers. We started with one color. We started 1 through 25 of a color, and then went to a different color, and then pretty soon a lot of the colors started fading. Blues, the greens started to look like blues, so then we stopped